Today, we will discuss topics such as the Sukshmantara Dasha, sub-period of Saturn within the moon period, as described in Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra, chapter 62, shloka 5. Welcome to this explainer. You know, as serious researchers and students of Vedic astrology, we already understand that the true mind-blowing depth of this science doesn't live in broad, generic predictions. Oh no, it's all in the microscopic details. So, we're completely bypassing the basics today. Instead, we are going to decode a highly specific, deeply mathematical, and intensely predictive slice of time.
What we're doing here is a sequential step-by-step deconstruction of Maharishi Parshar's absolute masterwork, the Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra. I want to respect your time, so we are getting straight to the core mathematics and the astrological principles that literally dictate human experience. We're zooming way in on a very unique planetary interaction. Imagine the broad, overarching influence of the moon, but narrowed all the way down into the highly specific sub-period, the Sukshmantara Dasha of Saturn.
Now, to truly understand the architecture of this principle, we absolutely must begin with the original source code. Listen closely to the classical pronunciation of chapter 62, shloka 5. Chandra dashayam manda sukshmantara dashayam kendra trikonage balayute danagamo rajaprite dvitiya saptamashtame dehakastam. This original Sanskrit verse right here, this establishes the core theorem we are about to decode. It packages together the time division, the geometric house placements, and the exact material and physical results of this incredibly specific planetary combination.
Let's break this verse down word by word, almost like a giant puzzle, using the Padacheda method. By isolating the Sanskrit, the direct English roots just pop right out. Chandra, as we know, means the moon, our overarching dasha lord. Manda translates to the slow-moving one, which is of course Saturn. Sukshma implies the microscopic or the subdivision of time. Kendra and Trikona refer to the angular and trinal houses. And Dehakastam, well, that directly translates to physical distress. By anchoring ourselves in these authentic linguistic roots, we're perfectly grounding our upcoming calculations. We aren't just guessing here. We are reading a highly precise astronomical and horoscopic blueprint.
So the crucial takeaway from that verse is summarized right here in a simple English translation. Maharishi Parashara is giving us the precise conditions and effects that manifest during Saturn's tiny sub-period, all while the moon's massive overarching dasha is running in the background. Think about it. We are dealing with two fiercely contrasting energies. You've got the moon, representing the mind, swift movement, and fluidity acting as the macro environment. And then you have Saturn, the planet of delay, strict structure, karma, and harsh realities acting as the micro environment. It's like mixing water and concrete. How these two actually interact depends entirely on the mathematical time division and where they are sitting spatially in the horoscope.
Moving on to Kala Vibhajna, the intricate cycle of time division.
Think of this concept like fractal geometry. You take a massive macro cycle and you shatter it down into a razor-thin window of either extreme volatility or high yield. Looking at the scriptural methodology, it's amazing to see that Parashara doesn't just leave this up to intuition. He gives us an exact algorithmic formula. You start big with the Mahadasha, you narrow that down to the Antardasha, you slice that piece into the Pratyantardasha, and finally you extract the Sukshmantardasha. It is quite literally a 4-tier deep dive right into the chronometer of karma.
Let's map out this Kala Vibhajna formula step by step. Step 1. First things first, you have to identify the duration of the current Pratyanta Dasha period of the operating planet. Step 2, you take that exact figure and multiply it by the designated Dasha years of the sub-sublord. In this specific case, that's Saturn, and Saturn's total Vimshatri allocation is 19 years, so you multiply by 19. Step 3. Finally, you divide that total product by 120. Boom! The resulting figure gives you the exact days, hours, and minutes that this highly specific Saturn Sukshma period will operate underneath the moon.
Now you might be wondering, why on earth do we divide by 120? Well, it's definitely not a random number. The number 120 is absolutely the critical denominator in Vedic astrology. It represents the total allotted lifespan of a human being in the Kali Yuga according to the Vimshatri Dasha cycle. So, by dividing the product of the planetary periods by 120, we're essentially calculating the precise proportional ratio of Saturn's influence within that specific microslice of the moon's larger time frame. It's an elegant, perfectly balanced, mathematically sound distribution of time.
Next up, astrological effects and their interpretations across the bhavas, or houses. Knowing the mathematical duration is totally useless if we don't understand the spatial interaction, right? So if Saturn is placed in a positive Kendra,
meaning the 1st, 4th, 7th, or 10th house, or a trikona, the 5th or 9th house, from the dasha lord, which is the moon, the results are actually remarkably favorable. Provided Saturn is endowed with strength, say it's exalted in Libra or sitting in its own signs of Capricorn or Aquarius, this specific little period brings unexpected enjoyments and periodic gains of wealth. I know, Saturn is naturally malefic, but a strong structural placement relative to the moon literally forces it to deliver disciplined success and material stability during its brief window.
Conversely, we have to look at the vulnerabilities. If Saturn happens to fall into the 2nd, 7th, or 8th house from the moon during this period, the text throws up a massive red flag. The 2nd and 7th houses are Marika, or death-inflicting houses, which deal heavily with family and partnerships. The 8th house, that's all about sudden obstacles and longevity. When the micro-lord of karma Saturn sits in these highly vulnerable positions relative to the mind, the moon, the results are acute physical distress, staunch opposition, and intense family quarrels. Honestly, it acts as a total pressure cooker of stress for the entire duration of that Suksma period.
But wait, there's another layer. The intrinsic strength of the dasha lord is absolutely crucial here. The moon's phase, its pakshabala, acts as a massive multiplier or reducer of Saturn's effects. A waxing moon, bright and full of light, acts as a very strong benefic dasha lord. It can absorb a ton of Saturn's malefic shock and actually amplify those positive Kendra and Trikona results. But a waning moon, lacking light, it's considered malefic. It becomes a super fragile macro environment, which exacerbates Saturn's negative placements and significantly throttles any potential gains. The foundation basically has to be strong enough to handle Saturn's heavy weight.
Let's look at the practical implications and the scriptural remedial measures. Here's the beautiful thing. Vedic astrology is not deterministic. It is diagnostic and it is prescriptive. The scriptures specifically mandates spiritual and charitable interventions for the physical distress and the opposition we just talked about. Parashara clearly acknowledges the heavy karmic toll of Saturn within the moon's period, and he doesn't just leave us hanging. He immediately follows up his astrological diagnosis with precise, actionable resolutions to pacify those intense energies. When we map out these direct solutions, it reveals a profound karmic balancing act. For the physical distress caused by Saturn sitting in those vulnerable 2nd, 7th, or 8th houses, the explicitly prescribed remedy is the recitation of the Mrityunjaya Japa. This is a highly specific sound frequency engineered to protect your longevity and vitality. Now, to mitigate financial blockages or the loss of wealth, the text prescribes the charity of a black cow or a female buffalo. Black is the color of Saturn, right? So offering this to a deserving person is an act of karmic balancing. It's a physical way of letting go of attachment to pacify Saturn's restrictive grasp.
Chapter 62 Summary. Synthesizing Verse 5. To wrap up this incredibly intricate module, let's quickly summarize the logical flow we just executed. We started with the foundational Sanskrit rule outlining Saturn's 6-Mantarda dasha under the moon. Then we applied the 120-year Vimshattari Kalagarbhajana math to pinpoint the exact time division. After that, we analyzed how spatial geometry, being in a Kendra or Trikona versus the 8th house, determines whether Saturn delivers sudden wealth or intense physical distress. And finally, we looked at the specific text-based remedies to actually neutralize those afflictions. This right here is the complete structured methodology of Maharshi Parashara. And honestly, it leaves us with a profound question. If the ancient sages could map out our most volatile karmic windows down to the exact minute, how much of our current struggle is simply a clock waiting to wind down?
On behalf of the Vedmata AI family, we humbly request that if you found our presentation enlightening, please share our video widely so that authentic knowledge from Indian Vedic texts can reach the masses. Let us all come together to participate in this Gyan Yagya, sacrificial offering of knowledge. Har Har Mahadev.